this. It's been waiting to do this. When you sell your great companies and add to the losers, it's like watering the weeds, it's kind of the flowers. They said, I want to put it in. I said, if you ever come to Nebraska, you'll call me. He'll be mud all over Nebraska. So did he call him? Oh, yeah. Several times we played bridge together. We've had several meetings. Great guy.
Why? Yes, you are first. What the fuck? I hate when they make me like sign into my PlayStation account. I don't ever sign out of that shit, but every so often they make you like re-sign into this shit, bro. And then it made me like do some weird ass puzzle just now. After 3 hours of shoveling snow, nigga, I'm just about to sit and chill. Which I've been kind of busy today. I had to fucking do our shit too, man. Had to clean off our cars and shovel the sidewalk. Then I wound up going to the gym for a little while, and then my girl left, so I had to cook my own self breakfast this morning, yo. And then I shipped out some more T-shirts this morning. Yep. Piggy just got her shirt shipped out in the mail. Yo, my man, like, yeah, shoveling snow is the gym. It's like shoveling snow is like God giving you chores. I ain't asked for this shit. Move it anyway. Like, what the fuck, man? But yeah, yo, one of the employees at my local UPS, he wasn't there today, yo. Like, he always gives me the hookup because I ship so much stuff. All of my art that I be shipping out, I go through the same location. And so they got this new lady there, and for some reason, I ain't argue with her or anything like that, because they always ask for your phone number. She put my number in. She was like, Travis Prince. I'm like, yes, that's me. So she can see how much I use their services, all my transactions. She asked, like, is this a new address? I'm like, yes, this is a new address. I've never shipped anything here before. Yo, the last time I shipped off all those T-shirts, the dude charged me $7.58, like $7.50 per shirt to ship, and I'm only charging you guys like $5 for shipping. But the shirts were like $7 and something to ship. Yo, this lady for to ship the one shirt today, she charged me $12. I'm like, that's, I don't know, almost double what I paid for every all the other shirts. But I didn't argue, I didn't complain, because I know like the other dude be looking out for me. He give me like some kind of I don't know. He always puts like some kind of discount in my shit for me, yo, where I don't have to like pay for like such expensive shipping. But the chick charged me like $12. I'm like, it's all good though. You know, I know next time when I see your ass at the counter, I'm not coming to talk to you. I'm not coming to talk to you. And matter of fact, the next time when the manager day, like, because even it's like really two employees who know me real good, yo. It's like the dude who really runs the shit, like the head manager, he's in there most of the time. And then like one of the other employees, he's in there most of the time. But I'm gonna tell like the head manager next time I see him, be like, yo, you need to tell all your employees, all the new staff here, when they see the Prince coming to this shit, man, put my discount on my shit, yo. Cause that saves me and my customers and my clients a couple of dollars. It's not a lot, but it a dollar, nigga. I like saving $1 where I can save $1. And this was like $12 and some change. I'm like, goddamn. You know? It's all good though. He's black. I'm not giving that guy no discount. Yeah, but look at my record in the computer system, yo. I'm in here like every other week shipping some shit out, yo. Big paintings, little paintings, customized sneakers, all kind of shit. I be shipping out. You should know I get some kind of preferred customer or frequent customer discount or some shit like that, man. You just couldn't apply that shit. Like, damn. But like I say, it's all good. I ain't stressing. Just a little couple dollars. Just a couple little ones. Got that good ginger ale. Oh man. So. motherfucking Saturday. I said I was yesterday. I never even got on the video game yesterday. But today, I plan on playing some video games today. Probably paint for a couple hours. And then, I don't really know what I want to play, man. I thought, we was gonna get some good games this month with PlayStation Plus. Every second Tuesday of the month, PlayStation Plus give you like 2 or 3 free games. Man, got some whack ass shit. I honestly forgot what they were, yo. I think one of them was like the UFC, like the last UFC game they put out, and then Borderlands. Like Borderlands put a spin-off on their shit, like it's called Tiny Tina's Adventure something something. So they gave us that. And then some other game. But man, them shits don't even look fun. So now I guess I'll go back to trying to finish The Witcher 3, which is fucking 6 years old, or I don't know how old The Witcher 3 is, but I've had that shit since it came out, and I just never played it, I don't know, but I have been playing it like the last month. I put a couple of hours in there. Yeah, it's probably the motherfucking Adidas. These shits have held up for so long. I had a pair of Nike flaps like this that just fucking tore. Like that shit tore right here on my Nike Jones. And then I have another pair, like, is it a difference between flip-flops and sandals? I got another pair of, like, sandals, I guess, that go in between your toes. I don't really like them. I don't like the little thing in between my toe. But the Adidas Jones, man, I had these shits for, like, I want to say this is my 3rd year with these motherfuckers, yo. And these motherfuckers they just hold up good, yo. Like, I don't know. These motherfuckers are still nice. I could clean them up a little bit or something. But yeah, these my favorite pair right here. The old goddamn Adidas. All day I dream about sex. I love these Jones. Get a little house sandals or flip flops. I be thinking about getting another pair, but then it's like, for what? Like, just to have a different color or some shit? I don't know. Not the thong. Ew, thong sandals. Yeah. I wear them every once in a while, but I don't really like them shits, yo. And they just like some no-name, some shit that I got when I was at the beach one time. Just like to have something on my feet real quick, coming in and out the ocean. Oh damn. Oh, these shits is nice. I'm telling you, yo, these shits are nice. These Adidas, yo, and I got these shits on sale. I think they would have been like $40 or like 35 or $40. I got these shits for like $18 or something, yo. Caught them on sale. I forgot where the fuck I got these shits from though. It was like a department store, like a Ross or TJ Maxx or some shit like that. One of them. I know it wasn't a shoe store. It wasn't like It wasn't like Finish Line or Foot Locker or nothing like that. It wasn't one of them. It was definitely like a department store. And I seen them shits. I was like, oh, and that's what really made me grab 'em. I'm like, them shits, they weren't even $20, yo. Them shits weren't even $20. Like $18 or something. Like, let me get the pair of these things. See how these things feel. Shit. Now I wear these motherfuckers all the time. Wear these motherfuckers all the time now. Yep. It was either these or some Crocs. And I ain't manly enough to wear no Crocs. Oh, hell of a deal. Couldn't pass it up. Couldn't pass these motherfuckers up for less than $20. I ain't got no snacks in here. Damn, y'all, I ain't got. I thought I had a bag of chips up here or something. Hmm. You have to go. I'm about to go grab a snack real quick. Okay, so now I got a question. Cause like I said, I want to play some video games today. Don't really have anything new to play. I'm just gonna keep grinding my way through The Witcher. But what games are out now that you are playing, or what games are coming out in like the next couple of weeks that you're excited about? I'm really thinking I'm gonna order. I'll do that. I'll look it up when I come back. Oh, you look that up for me real quick. Um, what's the name of this shit? Horizon. The first one was called Horizon Zero Dawn. I think the new one is called Horizon Forbidden West. When does that come out? What is the release date for Horizon Forbidden West? I know it's this month. It's February something. The 20th. It's not, like I said, it's coming out in a couple of weeks. It's like the 20th or the 22nd or something like that. Check that date for me real quick while I go grab a snack. Got the motherfucking the chili roasted no shell pistachios. I got some with the shells on it, but I'll eat the no shells for a second. Make it a little easy on myself. So you mean that painting back there? Ha ha ha. That's the new. Oh, you know what? I never printed a picture for that one. I actually did that from my tablet. So it's gonna be the next installment for the Reader series. Um, so that's what's gonna be on that canvas back there. Oh my! The last one I just finished, I actually got that shit across the hall. I meant to varnish that shit yesterday. I don't know why I didn't get a chance to varnish it. I'll varnish it before I leave from up here today. I gotta get that one varnished and put a wire on it. Matter of fact, I can put a wire on it now, and then I'll come back and varnish it later. Madam, my aunt. Yeah, this should be a good one. Boozy. What's good, bro? Um, yo, when does y'all ain't look that up? Let me see when that shit come out, yo. Horizon. Say the 18th. That shit come out on the 18th, yo. So I'm pretty sure I'll probably get that. I've been watching the gamer dude, the Rad Brad. He's been playing. He got an early copy of Dying Light Part 2, Remain Human. So I've been watching him play that for a couple days. And I'm good on the zombie games. So I don't think I'll get that. You definitely do, bro. You definitely do. It was actually a good game. No lie. The Horizon Zero Dawn was a pretty damn good game. So I'm kind of excited about part 2. And it comes out on the 18th. Like I say, it's just like a week or so away. So, but until then, listen, I really ain't been playing a lot of shit. And The Witcher is fun, but the Book of oh, you gotta have Disney Plus for that shit, though. I subscribed to Disney Plus for The Mandalorian. And then after I watched all The Mandalorian, I took that shit off. I got enough subscriptions, man. Like I thought being able to pick and choose your networks would be cheaper than cable. But you get too many of them motherfuckers, then you might as well just have cable all over again, yo. I got Amazon, I got the Amazon Prime, Netflix, and HBO Max. And I'm thinking about taking HBO Max off of that shit because I barely watch that shit, yo. There is one show on HBO Max I'm gonna get back into. It's called Raised by Wolves. I watched like the first installment, whatever. It was like one season, like 1 or 2 seasons. It might have only been like one season of that shit, yo. Raised by Wolves. But then now they have a new season out. So I definitely want to check that out. It's like this weird futuristic sci-fi shit where these androids are trying to raise like human kids because the human race was becoming extinct or something. One of the androids started going crazy. It's like it was a really weird show, but it was cool though. So I definitely want to finish watching that. Damn, I done drank all my ginger ale. I ain't got no other drinks up here. Nope. Damn. And I just went and grabbed the pistachios. I should have got an extra drink when I was downstairs. Or I could just have a water, which is really what I need to drink because I just drank a whole fucking soda. Korean movies. All right. Yeah, let me do a water instead of having another soda. The last Korean TV show I watched was Squid Games, which was pretty fucking good though. That was a weird show too, but it was still a pretty good show, even though it was kind of weird. But now,
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email from your boss that you have to finish before the big news.
hello, Game Ranks. I definitely got to watch this right here because they're gonna talk about Grand Theft Auto 6. Also, we're getting close up on Elder Scrolls Part 6. Should be coming out, I think, this year at the end of the year. But you gotta have an Xbox for that shit now, yo. Damn, that shit sucks so fucking bad, yo. I can't believe I gotta buy a fucking Xbox. But I'm honestly thinking I'm just gonna get the Series S, the small little white Xbox instead of the big chunky black one. Everybody says the same thing, you know what I'm saying? They're basically the same. You can still get ray tracing and I don't think the small one got the 4K, but still. Don't be so sure, Boozy. I mean, essentially, are you sure though? Because what other exclusives do Microsoft really have other than Halo and Fable? Maybe. Like Microsoft doesn't have tons of exclusives that really draw gamers to their platform. They're just not there. And so even me, I'm contemplating buying the Xbox, and that's how they're gonna get more customers. They're just gonna force motherfuckers to buy that shit, yo. Like, you son of a bitches. And then Sony just bought Blizzard Interactive, or Sony just bought another studio. Whatever studio makes Destiny. Who makes the Destiny games? Sony just bought them motherfuckers, yo. But then Sony says, oh, well, not Sony, but that studio said, well, we're not going to be, Bungie. Exactly. So Bungie said, we're not going to be PlayStation exclusive. Yes, Sony is our parent company now, but we're still going to be multi-platform. But at the same time, like, this is the console wars. Like, there aren't any other major household consoles out there nowadays other than the Sony PlayStation and the Microsoft Xbox. And so in order to dominate the home console market, you gotta like have exclusive content. But Microsoft is like, you can play their games on the PC too, yo. It's weird how they're setting themselves up to be able to play their games without actually owning Xbox. Like, you can play some of their games on PC, or if you have like the Steam link or whatever, and you can play that shit from your tablet or your phone or some shit. You can't really do that with Sony. So, but then at the same time, Sony has really been dominating the home console market, for years now. And it always seems like Microsoft has been trying to keep up with Sony because they came in the game kind of late. But now they're really trying to position themselves to overtake Sony as the number one home gaming console that there is, yo. So, and I've had a couple of Xboxes. I've had the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. I really didn't like Xbox One, but I'll give Xbox another shot for their exclusive content. You're getting Xbox Game Pass on the Switch, the Nintendo Switch. You can play Xbox games on a Nintendo console. That's interesting. That's interesting to say the least. But they might force my hand, bro. Like, if I'm not gonna lie, I wanna play Elder Scrolls 6 day one as soon as that shit releases. I don't want it to be like some time thing where Sony will get it the next year or some shit like that. Like, nah, I'm good. I want to go ahead and experience that shit when it's fresh and new with everybody else who gets to play that shit. If I have to get Xbox for that shit, then fuck it, so be it. But actually, the gaming unit that has sold more units in the past year is the Oculus Quest 2, yo. There's been more Oculus Quests sold than PS5s or Xbox S or X. And so the VR gaming is really getting popular, and it's starting to pick up more steam. and there's like dozens of different headsets that you can get for VR gaming. And so, but at the same time, like the Xbox Series S is at the same price point as the Oculus Quest 2, which they're roughly like $300 or something like that. How much does the Series S cost? I thought they're like $299, right? BestBuy.com. Go to Best Buy and look up Xbox. Not C box, X box. There you go. Wow. It feels like I need a nap. Right here, Xbox Series S, $299. In the yellow, it says add to cart. The big boy, the $499, it says sold out. So you can actually purchase one of these right now. You can add one of these to your cart and buy the smaller version like today for $299. Here's one that even has the extra controller for $354. What comes with this? Microsoft Xbox Series S with 112 gigabyte all digital console, disc-free gaming, white controller for Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and lowest model, robot white. Here's one that comes with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate 3-month membership deal. Then you have the Xbox Elite Wireless, the Elite controller is almost $200. That shit $179 just for the controller. Hmm. Oh, it's definitely a standalone game, a standalone unit, but you do need a PC to like activate it or whatever. You know, to get everything set up, to get all your parameters and settings and your login data and all that shit. You need a PC for that part of it, but after you get everything set up, it's a self-contained unit where you don't have to turn your computer on to play the quest. You need a computer to get everything set up, but then that's it. I think you may need a computer. No, because I think even after you get everything set up, you can go to the market inside the headset and like download new games from there, if I'm not mistaken. But you don't have to have a PC on or running or connect that shit to anything. Once you get it set up and it's ready to start playing, all you gotta do is keep the battery charged on that shit, yo. What, the $299? That's pretty cheap for a game. I mean, the PlayStation $500. So that shit $200 cheaper than the PlayStation. Then, like I say, the Oculus Quest is the same price. Yo, them shits, it's the same price. It's $299. So if I make any more like major gaming purchases this year, it will definitely be one or both of those, because I like the VR gaming, But at the same time, I'm really trying to just hold out for Sony because Sony's gonna copy the Quest controllers. They like wrap around your fist like that and got the things like this. You know what the Quest controllers look like. Instead of like the PlayStation VR Move controllers that like are the wands with the little ball on the top. So Sony is getting rid of those, and they're basically just gonna copy the Quest controllers and give us new, better controllers. And they said that the new PlayStation VR headset should have just one cable that connects right to the console itself instead of having like this adapter box with 3 or 4 wires, and you gotta have a power cord for your adapter box and then another wire for this, and like it's too cumbersome. But then it still makes me want the Quest because the Quest is completely wireless. There is no, you don't have to attach that shit to nothing. It's a completely self-contained wireless VR headset. So I'm really torn between like getting the Quest or waiting for the PlayStation to put out their VR 2 headset. I'm definitely whenever they announce like a hardcore release date for Elder Scrolls 6, I'm just gonna have to get a fucking Xbox. Like they're $300, man. And I'll just go ahead and grab one of them shits up. And I mean, if you guys ever played an Elder Scrolls game, so I came into it kind of late. I know there's like Hammerfell and Morrowind and all these other shits, but I didn't get on Elder Scrolls until Oblivion on the Xbox 360. Was the first Elder Scrolls I played, and oh my god, yo, Oblivion, no lie, I know I put like 120 hours on that game, probably more than that. And I had, well, yeah, I definitely put more than 120 hours because my main character had like 100 and something hours, a little more than 120 hours. But then I had like two other characters that I started, and I know one of them had like 50 or 60 hours on it, and then the last one had like a couple hours, like 20 hours or 30 hours or something on there. Just trying to play the story with like different races. Uh, Cause I like the Khajiit, the cat people, and then I wanted to play with like a dark elf, but then like my main character was just fuck, I can't think of the name of the black people in Elder Scrolls. Like the black people have their own race, and they're called, was it like the Red Guards or something? I don't know. Yeah, the Red Guards. So yeah, my main character was like one of the black people, yo. I played that shit for so many hours. Oblivion. And then when um Skyrim came out, oh my god. Yo, once again, yo, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, I know I did the same thing. I put like 120 hours on that shit, 130 hours or something on Skyrim, yo. Skyrim was such a good game. People are still modding that game and playing it every day since it came out, yo. Motherfuckers been playing that game for like 10 years. But So yeah, if I buy the Xbox just for that one game, I'll still be satisfied because I already know like I'm gonna put so many hours in on that one fucking game, yo. It don't even matter, yo. And then anything else would be a plus. If Microsoft can give us something else that I'm really interested in, it'd just be a plus. Something like I said, they're gonna give us Fable. I really did love that series. Um, and if they can come up with something else, because I do prefer PlayStation. I just like the PlayStation controller better. And so if a game comes out on both consoles, I'm more than likely I will get it for the PlayStation. But if Microsoft can give us those exclusive games that are high quality, then I'll definitely purchase those games, yeah. So it all depends. And this right here is from okay, yeah, this is Game Ranks. And the title of this clip is GTA 6 finally confirmed. The real reason Sony bought Bungie and more. So does GTA have anything to do with the reason they bought Bungie? Even though Grand Theft Auto is a Rockstar Entertainment game, it has nothing to do with Bungie.
It's Friday, February 4th, 2022. As usual, my name is...
So they just dropped this yesterday, Friday the 4th. Let me go ahead and reset the speaker so we don't have any of this static and choppiness with the audio, because I really want to hear what they're going to say about Grand Theft Auto 6. And how long have we been playing Grand Theft Auto? For Grand Theft Auto 5 for like 6 years now, and Rockstar and Sony are continuing to put out new updates for the game and new content. On top of that, like the PC modders have just created this whole different experience for Grand Theft Auto with, you know, higher quality textures. I've even seen like some modders who they have like real cars in Grand Theft Auto now, like with the real emblems and everything. The dude was driving around in the Mercedes AMG and the Land Rover truck, and it literally says Land Rover. Then you get inside the car, and from the first person view, like it looks fucking real, like the real fucking thing, yo. And like people are still having fun, like modding that game and playing that game after, like I say, after 6 years. Even though Rockstar still puts out new content for it. Most of the new content for Grand Theft Auto is like online shit, and I don't really play the online version of that, so I haven't really experienced much of that shit. They even got like the new heist mission with Dr. Dre and all that shit. I still haven't played that, but I mean, it's had a long lifespan, and so I can imagine how hyped the community will be for the next installment of Grand Theft Auto.
Here to talk about all the video game news that's been going on this week. It's a pretty stacked week considering it's early February where it's usually dead. There's a lot to dive into, so let's jump in with the first big surprise story. The next Grand Theft Auto is now officially, really, seriously confirmed and coming. Yes, straight from the horse's mouth, Rockstar Games themselves put out like a post today detailing some stuff like the future of GTA Online, but in there was also a nugget of this information. We are pleased to confirm that active development for the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series is well underway. They just put it out. It's real. So Grand Theft Auto 6 or whatever it may be is in the works. Now this of course comes after rumors and craziness for years, leaks, not leaks, job listings and stuff like that. So we've known something was in the works. It's pretty obvious. But now to finally officially hear it, great. When is it going to be? Probably a while, just because of the way these games take a long time to make, coupled with the fact that the last year or two has been a little bit messy for game development studios overall. I wouldn't expect to see this thing anytime soon, especially considering this was like a little quiet announcement. This wasn't like a big, bold, proud announcement. It was just like a, hey, by the way, leave us alone. So now just cue the rumor mill of what the next Grand Theft Auto is going to be about. What if they put a girl in it? Ah! Seriously though, this will be fun.
What if they put a girl in it? You know what I'm thinking? The metahumans and how easy like how easy it is to make a metahuman now. What if they just let you design your own character for Grand Theft Auto, and that way you can have a girl? Kind of like how they did for Cyberpunk 2077, where you have the option of playing as a girl or a guy, and it really doesn't like dramatically change the story plot at all. Wow. Jeez. But you know, every time I yarn, my eyes water. Does anybody else do that when you yarn? Your eyes water a little bit. Why does that happen? But anyway, what if they put a girl in it? I honestly, not being sexist or anything, because once again, as we were just saying, I am super hype for Horizon Forbidden West. I've played Horizon Zero Dawn all the way through. Excellent game, excellent story, excellent characters. And the main character is a little red-headed white girl. I did not have a problem playing as a little red-headed white girl. It didn't distract me at all. The game was still awesome. But for Grand Theft Auto, it's just like we've always had a male protagonist. It's just it just is, yo. The silent character from Grand Theft Auto 3, motherfucking the black guy from San Andreas, the Russian guy from Grand Theft Auto 4, the Italian guy from Vice City, and then you have some Italian guy, white redneck, and a black guy from Grand Theft Auto 5. And so I don't know, like, and all the other subsidiaries like Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Stories, the Lost and the Damned, the Ballad of Gay Tony. Like, you've always had a male protagonist for every installment of Grand Theft Auto. Should we change that now? I don't think we should change that. And once again, like with Grand Theft Auto Online, okay, now the girls can get in there and make a female character and run around with, you know, with skirts and boobs and shit, and that's cool and that's fun. But I think for like the hardcore fan base like me, who's been playing Grand Theft Auto since the top-down PC version, I would definitely want to retain the the male presence as the main protagonist. That's just me. You know, for that type of game, I would definitely rather have a man doing it. And just because how the series is set up, like there's always some gangster ass violent shit going on, and you don't normally see a woman in those type of roles. Uh, you know, when we think about the biggest, baddest ass gangsters and drug dealers, they're always dudes. You know, like El Chapo or Freeway Ricky Ross and all these motherfuckers. They're just always men who live that type of life like that. So there's so much shit on my floor over here, yo. I was looking for this hat too. I don't know why I just spotted that shit. But yeah, don't change up the formula now, man. Don't change up the formula now and try to make it a girl and make it, you know, appealing to a wider audience. Like, nah, we don't need that.
Yeah, very much been a channel that talks about Grand Theft Auto in the past. So for another one to ramp up, it's exciting for us. We like those games. We like making videos about them. So yeah, let's go. Now in other news, on a negative note, Battlefield 2042 looks like it needs more time, which it doesn't come like a big surprise to people who have played it or really took issues with it. Battlefield 2042, of course, was like the poster child for 2021, releasing some busted games. And now with this new developer community announcement, a hotfix has been pushed and now seemingly is March, which seems like a long time away. And with it is going to come a bunch of updates that people have requested and fixes and technical stuff. But damn, all we wanted to do with pointing this out is just the fact that, like, yeah, it's great you guys need time for fixes for the game, but of course, we would have loved the game to have released in a better state. Personally, I don't put that on the individual developers crafting the game. I put that on the corporate interests behind it, where the games eventually can be delayed, but eventually they gotta get pushed out the door, whether they're ready or not. And that sucks, because we get stuff like this. Many a game has been saved in the past with post-launch updates, though, so we'll see where it goes. But in other news, some wild news, earlier this week, Monday, what a way to start the week with a bang, Sony has purchased Bungie for billions of dollars. Yes, in case you missed it, regarding the console war acquisitions have, it's $3.6 billion was this purchase, and it's wild and unexpected, and according to it, on both Sony's end and Bungie's end, Bungie's actually going to be able to remain pretty independent and put out games multi-platform, which of course we're going to have to believe it when we see it, but that's a notably different approach than Microsoft. We did a whole video covering the little ins and outs and the details and the announcements, but basically, it seems like Sony is acquiring them really for everything, because they can make cool intellectual property. Bungie has a history of that. Sony wants to also take them into like movie and TV levels of things, and live service games. This is where it seems like Sony's plans for Bungie and their reasons for buying them are really coming out, because later in the week we learned a bit more that gives it context, because we now know...
Wow. For movie rights, I didn't think of that. So we got the Uncharted movie that's coming out. Uncharted isn't a Sony exclusive, is it? Or it is. Hold on, I think so. I think Uncharted may be a Sony exclusive because it's Naughty Dog, right? And Naughty Dog also made The Last of Us. And I know for a fact The Last of Us is exclusive to the PlayStation. So I wouldn't see why Naughty Dog would like have some of their games exclusive and some of them not exclusive. But like he's saying, Sony it also makes movies, so them being able to have the intellectual property of these gaming studios, they can also transfer those over into the movie industry. Just like they're trying to do, like they are currently doing with the Uncharted series, and making a movie out of that with like some major actors. Cause you got the dude who plays Spider-Man in there now, and you got Mark Wahlberg in there, and so I mean that's going to be like some major revenue right there for Sony on their movie side of things. And so, okay, so now you have Microsoft is putting out the Halo Infinite TV series, I think, that's going to be on like Paramount Plus or something. But then what if you have a Destiny movie or a Destiny TV show? And I'm not a big fan of Destiny, but I know some people who are. Or what other intellectual properties does Bungie own that could translate over into like movie or TV revenue? That would be dope.
Sony is planning more than 10 live service games before March 2026. And Jim Ryan has alluded to this in interviews talking about this acquisition. So that's where they're going. Live service games, a lot of people are burnt out on them. I personally don't really like many of them at all. But maybe Sony can do a new spin on it with some of their internal studios. I would like to see that. I would like to see some creativity with the concept. I understand why companies would want to keep developing games that just keep churning and earning more money forever, but like it has to be good. Like I don't know, man. They're just gonna put NFTs in the game. We'll see where all of this stuff goes because Jim Ryan, Sony has said to keep an eye on them because they're going to be announcing more acquisitions. There's more stuff in the works, and according to a new report, Sony still has $10 billion kicking around that they're spending. So let's see where this goes. Hey, next up, this episode is brought to you by Epic Desk. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are like me. You're using these plain old boring black desk mats or mouse pads for your work or gaming setup. Get that out of here. With Epic Desk, you can get a desk mat that really expresses you. Something bigger, bolder, aesthetically pleasing, if you will. They come really nicely packed in a slick sleeve, and they reveal a nice quality design of your choice. They're all in 3 different levels of rarity classes. Like, they're all individually signed and numbered. The extremely limited runs only have 100 in existence. They even each come with their own certificate of authenticity. It's pretty cool. The desk mats themselves come in nice high quality print. There's this cool stitching around the sides. And they all come in a size of 36.5 by 15.75 inches. Also, one thing I picked up on after using them, they're a little thicker than your average desk mat or mouse pad, and it really makes for a nice, smooth experience when you're playing. That added weight and thickness, though, it just feels substantial. It just feels quality, you know? So if you want to check out some of the designs and maybe pick one up for yourself, because some of them are very limited, go to the link in the description down below, click that, or go to epicdesk.shop and use our code GameRanks to get 15% off any stock Epic Desk mat. Once again, check out that link in the description down below. Have fun. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks to Epic Desk for sponsoring this video. And real quick, sticking with PlayStation news, it's a pretty Sony-heavy week. It's now official. You can link your PSN account with Discord. This was announced last year, but it's finally rolling out, and that's pretty cool and convenient. Also, PSVR 2 now has like an official site. That popped up earlier this morning. It seems like there's going to be like a thing with reservations or pre-orders for it. It was mentioned at the bottom of the site, so maybe keep your eyes peeled on that. We still haven't seen the physical headset yet, though, but still, it's a real thing now. It's becoming real. And of course, it wouldn't be a Friday show without a game delay. What do we got this week? Can you guess? Guess what it is?
No.
Close. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, man, Suicide Squad from Rocksteady Games has been pushed to 2023. So there you have it, another one. We also got a bunch of cool announcements and new game stuff this week that I definitely think you should check out. All of the stuff, the news stories we talked about, all of it will be linked in the description down below, of course. The first thing we got is Yacht Club's new game. The people behind Shovel Knight are making a new, very much classic style game. This time it's really old school 8-bit style action adventure game, and it is called Mina the Hollower. I definitely want to hear what you guys think of this one. It's definitely a bit of a shift from the previous game, but I'm really curious to see what they do with this one, because I think it's a little deceptively simple. Also, it's Friday. Dying Light 2 is out. It's finally out. I played a review copy. I've been playing it for a while. I definitely recommend the game. It definitely has a lot of technical issues, and I don't think some of the decision stuff totally lived up to the hype, but I've had so much freaking fun with the core gameplay that I totally recommend it. So we will link the before you buy down in the description. If you are one of like a freaking million people that watched it, thank you a lot. It means the world to us. I bust my ass on those, so thank you. Also, the Bloodborne demake has really been blowing up the internet because it's now officially out, and you can download and play it. It is available. What we linked in the description down below is a YouTube video of the maker doing a whole playthrough video, and it is absolutely incredible. The level of detail, the nuance to everything, how it uses the Bloodborne sounds, how it replicates the visuals. It's so cool, and I've said this before on the show, but I just really love how, like, when people love video games and they have some skills behind them, like, freaking anything can happen. Also, Sony hosted 2 State of Plays this week. The first was for Gran Turismo 7, detailing all of that stuff. It is, of course, once again, another gorgeous, slick, and very slick interface-heavy Gran Turismo game. It looks incredibly impressive. That's coming in March. And we also got a big, long look at Ghostwire Tokyo, which is also releasing in March, we now know. I wasn't super excited about this game, despite the people involved, but now seeing some gameplay, it looks like this weird, cool, like, FPS Doctor Strange ghost hunting game that I never knew I wanted, but I'm in. Now, shifting gear to some other last-minute news, CD Projekt Red has, in an interview, stated that their goals for this year is to kickstart development on 2 new AAA titles. Yes, of course, they're still very much working on Cyberpunk and cleaning up some things and releasing new content, but they're looking towards the future. The simultaneous implementation of 2 AAA projects is our strategic goal for this year. Along with that, apparently they're going to hire and staff up more too. So it just goes to show with the issues and internet anger with Cyberpunk and it being a rough product, definitely valid, the money train just keeps on rolling. And also in other cynical news, we're getting a new Call of Duty tease or something. Infinity Ward has tweeted a teaser. A lot of people think it's going to be Modern Warfare 2 or something like that. This is interesting because we also talked about the possibility with like the Xbox acquisition that Activision was maybe going to like kind of space out their Call of Duty releases, but definitely not yet. So here we are. Still, it was a hell of a week for video games in terms of things releasing, things released last week, things releasing next week. There's Pokemon, Dying Light, Sifu. There's games everywhere, so I want to hear what you guys think about the news this week, but I also want to know what you're playing. We always leave it as a pinned comment. It's for our research, so thank you. But let's talk in the comments. Things get crazy, though, so we'll be down there as much as possible, but if you want to yell at me directly, find me on Twitter and Instagram and my YouTube channel, Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here. Every damn Friday, talking about this damn news. Clicking the like button's all you got to do. It genuinely helps us out, so thank you. But we got to get back to work, so thank you for being here. I'm Jake Baldino. Pizza's on me. I almost forgot the. I forgot that. I always forget the. How do I? Have a good weekend, guys.
Why doesn't every home in the U.S. have solar panels? The #1 reason.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Your name's Alexander, right? You're Alexander. I'm part of a sting operation. I work side by side with detectives as a civilian. I'm not here to hurt you, but I'm here to have a conversation with you. Can I have one with you? What's that? I can't. I'm not gonna hurt you. Do you mind rolling your window so I can hear you? I feel like you should.
What do you want?
Okay, well, I work side by side with detectives, okay, as a civilian. I'm not law enforcement, okay? But law enforcement, I cannot promise are not gonna be here on the scene. Okay?
Okay.
So you wanna talk with me as a man?
Can you put the phone away?
I do videotape for your safety and my safety. That's why.
Please don't.
It's a one-party consent state. I can record, but I want to let you know I'm recording just so you know I'm not going to hurt you, and I know you're not going to hurt me. That's all. Fair?
Look.
Can you just sit right here and have a talk? All right. You're being a man. You're being a man. I appreciate it. Okay? And just for your safety in mind, I do get persuaded for police. Okay?
Please don't do this.
Okay, well, can you sit down and have a talk with me then?
Okay.
Alright.
I didn't want to do this.
Okay, real quick. Just have a seat with me. Chill out. She's with me as well. Okay? Alright. So, what's your name?
Anthony.
Okay, Anthony. Can you prove your age to me so I know that you're not older? Or younger?
Twenty-two.
Okay, we got, I can't remember, Anthony Champion.
Look,
Okay.
can I please go? I swear this won't
Okay.
happen again.
What did you do wrong? Why are you shaking so bad?
I was coming here to tell you guys that I didn't want to do this, and that I'm married. I'm married.
I know you're married. We know everything about you.
How do you know that?
Because we do a lot of research before we meet up with you.
Okay, what can I do to make... What?
You can sit down and not stand up on me like that. Please don't show any aggression towards me. I appreciate it.
I'm not...
So then be calm. Be calm. You're shaking like a tree in the fall,
Yeah,
man.
because I'm scared.
Then, okay, it's okay to be scared, but is it okay for me to get an explanation why you said the things you did to... How old was the girl? You went just sitting down and getting off your knees? That way people don't know what's going on. People are watching by you. Do you want more people to watch?
No.
Then look weirder and less weirder by sitting on your butt.
What?
You're looking weirder by being on your knees.
For a second...
How old did she tell you?
15. I'm sorry.
No, she didn't.
What?
How old did she tell you?
16?
No, younger than that.
No, I swear, 15.
You have the chat logs? Okay. I appreciate you being a man.
Look, I came here to tell her that I'm not interested. I said hang out.
Okay, you said hang out. Okay, I have chat logs I can read you, but do you mind just having a seat and looking at the age?
This is the first time I've ever done...
Okay, we'll get to that. Can you just chill and just have a seat?
Yes.
People are looking at you weird because you're on one knee talking to me. You want others to watch, or do you just want it to be private? I would sit on your butt. That's just my recommendation as a human being. But you can have more people stare at you.
15.
Where does it say that? Show me.
15 soon.
15 what?
15 soon.
So what does that mean?
That...
What does that mean? What is 15 soon? You just read it.
I thought... Okay, here.
What does that mean? How old is that? Why? Look at you.
Look, I made a big mistake. I'm sorry.
Do you mind just sitting on your ass for me, man? For real. I'm gonna ask you the last time. Chill out. You're freaking me out, dude. Chill and talk with me. It's a conversation. Are you capable?
Bury enough layers to insulate an iceberg?
Feels weird picking it up. The legacy of that shield is complicated, to say the least.
I will let you touch it. We're just doing stuff.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm just gonna open it, dude.
Oh my god.
Happy New Year, everybody. So I was contacted by a viewer named Philip. He goes by Hyperactive Picker on Instagram. He told me that he has a storage garage and he thinks he has some stuff that I might be interested in buying. So he invited me to come down and pick through it a little bit. He lives about an hour south of me in Columbus, Indiana. It's currently pouring down rain. It's a nasty, nasty day. I have no idea what I'm walking into, but he seems like a nice guy, so we're gonna go check it out and see what we can find. Hopefully we make some sort of a deal. If we do, I'll bring whatever I buy back here and we'll take a look at it as we normally do. So I'm gonna bring you along with me and let's go meet Philip.
Are you watching with moral support?
What?
Are you watching with moral support?
Yeah, Sugar Rail. Go, go, go.
I had this more cleaned out the other day. So, this is my muscle car.
Oh, wow.
72 on it. So we just got friend's dad passed away. Okay. Well, not the other day, but about a month ago. And they were trying to clean out the rest of the house. And he had me come over and like $80, anything that was left except for two things, you know. And so we got all these like vintage clothing.
Oh,
it's
wow.
not like super good stuff, but there's a lot of like vintage like insulated blue jeans and stuff like that people will still happily, you know, use. I've got all sorts of history in here. A lot of it's going to be covered up right now because I just got all that stuff. But these are Nintendo Red Tints. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
Yeah, what is that?
So Nintendo Red Tint was this one is completely gutted. This one is my restoration. But you can see like all the different.
Like store units or something, or?
It was a pre-home release console.
That's great.
Home console release.
Yeah.
And they would have. You ever heard of Mario Lost Levels?
Yes.
So that's more or less what would be on this.
Okay.
There was Castlevania, there was Track and Field, there was this and that, but they were altered versions of the home release. So basically, that's how they could get recorders to keep pumping. They were increased difficulty.
Yeah.
It was meant to test the market, but also make money. So
that's pretty neat.
These are first gen arcade one-up. This is Centipede, and that's Asteroids.
I just bought a Miss Pac-Man the other day for the kids.
Did you?
Yeah.
I actually I had 2 more Asteroids. I bought them at discount, $75 a piece from Walmart.
Huh.
Back, you know, when they first had them or whatever, and I sold 2 of them the other day for $2.50 a piece.
That's awesome.
I got all this stuff. You know, there's just stuff from the year that we haven't done. I want to say, if you want wrestling figures, definitely in here.
Okay.
That's like an eclectic mix of different types of action figures, some McDonald's, some like retail release.
Marvel and DC stuff.
Over here.
Oh, Star Wars. Well, by the way, I have the camera now, so this is Hyperactive Picker, right?
That's me.
On Instagram, Philip.
Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, hopefully this year. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do. It's Hyperactive Picker, but to be fair, the content as far as reselling it is all going to be this year. So.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and link that stuff too, because I appreciate you letting me come down and look through your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff here.
This is something I've been trying to get into lately is Star Wars. Are these older? Or are these?
I believe these are probably
90s. Big guns.
And I just got another big ton of them the other day.
Oh, really?
Not gonna lie, I hope somebody like sees this video and is like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy that car for $10,000.
Are you working on it or trying to sell it?
I've been working on it.
That's cool. Army of Darkness. Are these? Yeah, obviously they're McFarlane. It's fine. I think I had part of this guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just the ash.
I've been selling a lot of my Hellraiser Series 1 and Series 2
Yeah.
collection.
I love horror stuff.
There's a wrestling ring over here.
Yeah. They're distracting these.
No, are these things you want to sell?
Yeah, they are. I'm sure you probably don't want this one. So. Let me just grab this up. Candyman, Hellraiser.
Absolutely. Problem with these old cars, they're so sleek and aerodynamic.
Yeah.
You can't see anything on them. Okay.
The reality of living with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease means you might be
I'm really lusty, so I think this will make great. You want to use the button for the,
Hey, look at that.
for the,
That's a cool button. Holographic Donkey Kong 64. So that would have been like a employee at like a game store,
That's
like
what I'm
Toys R
thinking.
Us or something.
I bought this
when it first came out.
I bought this huge thing. I was hoping to bring all those, but I still got a big amount.
Uh-huh.
I've just acquired so much stuff. And she had surgery recently, and I just kind of been taking it easy.
Yeah, sure.
Got all the space clear in the warehouse in the house. Yeah. How are you on board games?
Gotta be pretty special. Know what I mean?
This is a board game. This is a little Nintendo keys.
These are cool.
Broken, obviously.
Does that one hold the Nintendo too?
Yep, console sits right there. Cords can go up underneath it. You can have games and stuff lying in the back, controllers, whatever.
And also sleek for the 80s.
Yeah. Well, you know, you think of these big, gigantic record players, tables for.
Where are the lunchboxes? Do got any He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joes?
I just sold a lot of my G.I. Joes, but I tell you what, you could probably, I'd say maybe here soon we can get something a little more organized and good.
I'm thinking it's probably gonna be like a 3-part video, like over the next couple months or something.
The closest I came to Masters of the Universe find was at a local San Souci thrift store, and they had in their auction case, I mean, they had, you would have been like solid all over the place. They had castles and structures and catapults, you know, everything, all like hundreds of figures. It was crazy. Beat up Game Boy. This is sad stuff, too. Sad.
That's what happens with them.
It is.
She's the Atari mother load.
Video game. These are just some random patches. You know, you said you're.
That's Slayer. That's awesome.
This is newer. These are all newer.
Oh, this picture's cool.
These are just some different patches. I'm not sure what they're really associated with. Maybe if anybody knows, tell us in the comments. I've always wanted to see that.
It's a lot older though.
Yeah. So one thing I can tell you about patches is that the people who are patch aficionados gauge patches by the backing. That's how they tell the age. And if I'm not mistaken, this is called a gauze backing, but the oldest ones have like this gauze type material on the back. And these are all Indiana patches. The guy who owned this collection and compiled this collection over his illustrious career was former World War II. Came home wasn't done. Wanted to have camaraderie. Got involved in the Boy Scouts, became a leader. Was very involved in hiking, helped develop trails. The guys I was talking to, they were just so curious, like who had this collection? This is not just a collection. I mean, there are some Ferraris per se in that world for these trail medals, and there were variants, just like action figures nowadays. They had different color ribbons with different color. I don't even know all the terminology now, but different colored metal pieces across the top, and it was just fascinating getting to know these guys and their passion about some. I was a Boy Scout.
Right.
I almost became an Eagle Scout. So I was there just to get some patches, some merit badge patches.
Right.
I had no clue about trail medals, and it's some of the coolest stuff. Just the story of how they came about,
Sure.
why they did it, where they decided to institute these. There was one patch I sold. I think it was a Jefferson Memorial. The patch is the only place that the trail was actually drawn. It was never put on any sort of map, but it's on the patch. And so that patch is like how they know where the trail is, basically. You know, Wisconsin, Pokagon, Illinois, Massacre Trail. So that's an older one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I was looking at these. I got was it 2 boxes of these sealed figures. Plus, I did like those wrestling figures too.
Okay. Those are the Clown.
Oh wow.
Really old. But this is one of my prized possessions right here. It's an unpunched, unwrapped, I guess you should say.
That's awesome. Tin back.
You can check it out. I will let you.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Oh gosh, what we find? What did we find, Roger? What did we find?
Oh no.
What did we find?
Look at that.
What?
My heart's beating.
Well, that's a good thing. Look, I also got some other stuff in there.
Man, this is the box right here, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is holding out on me.
Well, you know, I paid a mortgage. Some more micro
Is it more than you thought?
Huh?
Is it more than you thought you'd see?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But
which is a good thing.
It makes me glad we still made the drive.
Look at that.
So it was meant to be.
What year are those?
It was really put everything. Look at this.
Oh, very cool.
So much stuff you can't put it all down.
Those are awesome.
These are awesome too.
I've never seen one of these.
Very cool.
Roger. Yeah.
Meatwood, what up?
year, another chance to stand out with whoever you're with. You gotta do it for the fans. Most guys are...
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Now, I know that Jimmy is looked at
Corsetti,
that. Yeah, and I don't know Jimmy personally. I like the guy without knowing him. You interviewed him,
Yeah,
right?
very nice guy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
I'd like to get him out in the field with me and show him some stuff firsthand. I think
I bet he would love that.
I
Yeah,
think
he's
he
a
would.
giant fan of your work.
I like to hear that. Well, I'm a fan of his work, but I don't happen to agree on this one.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if he agrees. I think he's just speculating.
Yeah.
He's not dogmatic. Like, he doesn't have, like, a
Right.
rigid perspective on this.
Yeah, here you can see there's the recat structure. What is interesting, though, is look at this. You've got the this structure up here, the terminate tenoma. I forget how you pronounce
say that?
I knew how to pronounce it, but anyways, that's an impact crater there. There's one here. We can actually, if we go back, the Tenumur crater in Mauritania, that's impact, and the Temimichat.
That's it.
So what's interesting, though, check this out. There's one, there's two, and here's the recat structure. They fall in a perfect alignment.
Mm.
Now, what's the explanation there? I don't know.
Could just be coincidence, right?
Could be coincidence, yeah. Could be coincidence.
One of the things that he said about the recut structure was that around it, the white appears to be salt.
Which could be. And I mean, see, the rim rock of this is late Cretaceous, about 90 million years old. So at that point, it was below the ocean, right? So it's been uplifted. I think this thing is about 1,400 or 1,500 feet above sea level, if memory serves me correct. So it's been eroded. You see, this whole thing here is like an erosion. You had a massive amount of water that came down over this, and most likely is what exposed this thing to the surface. It was probably buried. Let's see here. So right there is, from Plato, that's the ringed city of Atlantis to scale.
The concentric rings.
The concentric ring. So this is the actual scale superimposed onto the recat structure.
So it's much smaller in scale.
Yeah.
But Plato's scale was based on what?
The stade. It was based on the stade, which is roughly 607 feet. It's where we get the word stadium from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that was the length of a stadium in ancient Greece.
So when you look at Plato's version of this, sorry to take you on this detour, but I was just curious. When you look at Plato's version of Atlantis, is there an area of the world that seems likely? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. You better watch my 6-hour presentation.
Okay,
Joe.
I will.
Yeah, no, but I look, it's detailed. That's why even in 6 hours, I can't really spell it. In the podcast I did, the first 9 episodes, 2 hours each, were devoted to, I thought, well, let's kick it off with Atlantis.
18 hours of Atlantis.
18 hours of it. The last episode 9 was devoted to the recat structure.
Wow.
So I had 8 hours, so 16 hours, but we had some chatter and things like that in there, so maybe more like 12 or 14 hours. So, you know who Johanna James is?
No.
She is a British actress who started doing this pot. She's a really cool lady. She's very interested in all this kind of stuff. Very smart, extraordinarily beautiful. And she went on and did she does these like 20-minute, 30-minute little vignettes of things that she's really interested in, having to do a lot with, ancient cultures, all the kind of things that, Graham Hancock is, she reads Graham Hancock. She became a fan of mine, and she devoted one of her little 20 or 30-minute segments to, she said, I watched all 10 hours or 12 hours of Randall Carlson's programs on Atlantis. And so she did this like 30-minute little synopsis of it. Really did a great job. So we reached out to her. I invited her on. She came on. We did a live stream a couple of weeks ago with her as a guest. And just really fun lady. She's also does comedy.
Really?
Yeah. And she's very intelligent, very gorgeous. What can I say? And smart and interested in all this kind of stuff. So, there we go. Anyways, so she was very interested in the whole Atlantis thing. And so because of that, there was a lot of feedback and people wanting to know more. And so I thought, okay, now the 10 or 12 hours I did, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to condense that down. So a couple of weeks ago we did the first 3-hour live stream where I basically started breaking down Plato's account line by line. What did he actually say? Let's look at the geology. Let's look at the geography, the oceanography, the astronomy, and see if it lines up, if it matches up. And so I think there's one place that pretty much is not all the details, but when you look at all of the areas around the planet that have been proposed for Atlantis, I think there's one place that fits the majority of his details, and that's the sunken Azores Plateau. And I say sunken because we know it's sunken, and it's right along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. In fact, I didn't think he would get on this subject. There's the Azores Plateau right there. It straddles a triple plate junction, which you have the European plate, the African plate, and the North American plate here.
It's up near Nova Scotia?
Yeah, it's far north. It is. But notice over here, it's really almost at the same latitude as Spain. See? And I would say that if there's any place on the planet that is most consistent with Plato's account, that's it right there.
Why is that? Without doing an 18-hour presentation.
Oh, come on, Joe. Can't we have pizza brought in?
We can.
Nah, that's why, in a nutshell, God, where do I even begin? So, I was afraid you were going to ask that, but we can look very quickly, I guess, like give you the 5-minute version, which is that there is evidence that there was a massive subsidence along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. We actually talked about this a little bit, and I think in our very first discussion we had, which was what, 7-8 years ago?
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit. Geophysics shows that there's horizontal movement, lateral movement of the Earth's crust because of continental drift, but there's also vertical movement. And that is the result of isostatic compensation. That's called isostasy, is the vertical movement of the Earth's crust. I can show you, I should have a slide right here that will help to really illustrate what it is. Let me back up to, let's see. Should be right in here. Here we go. Okay, so now this is the shore of Hudson Bay. Now this is where the ice sheet was the thickest, right? Now what are you seeing there? Hudson Bay is up here. These are shorelines because when the ice was removed, the land started rising back. So here's sea level, right? Land is rising back.
And the land is rising because of a lack of weight of the ice?
Yes. Right. So you're sitting on a soft, cushiony chair right now, right? Are you?
Yep.
Okay. So your ass is causing isostatic depression of that cushion on your chair.
Right.
And if you sit up, you'll have isostatic compensation. Right?
So that's what that is along many, many, many lines.
Yes, those are all shorelines. Here's another view of it.
Wow.
Here's another view.
Wow.
That's the land rebounding a couple of thousand feet after the ice was removed. Now, the ice was removed, and all of those trillions of tons of weight, where did it go? In the Atlantic Ocean. Now, you look, the thinnest crust on the Earth is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And if you look at it, you'll see that there are transform faults, which should show up right here. The transform faults are these vertical fault lines that are what you would say orthogonal or right angles to the ridge itself. Here you can see very clearly the triple plate junction and how the Azores Plateau. Okay, well, since the 1940s, the first expedition in 1948, there was when they started doing dredge samples from the floor of the Atlantic Ocean, which coincidentally, the name of the ship was the Atlantis. They dredged core samples, and they pull up the core samples from 2 miles down, a mile to 2 miles down, and they look at those core samples, and what you had was, for example, shallow water creatures living. They weren't living. They were now, they had been drowned. You had creatures like that typically lived under 100 feet of seawater, and now they're a mile and a half below, and they're on the flanks of this place right here.
So these are fossils that they're finding?
Yeah.
So, and they're finding fossils that ordinarily you would find in some place that was very shallow.
Very shallow. Very shallow, yes.
Or relatively shallow, 100 feet.
100 feet, yes. So this is the basic idea here. This goes back to the 60s. As it says right here, the possible tectonic implications of glacioeustatic. Now, eustatic is the rise and fall of sea level correlated with the increase and decrease of glacial ice. So if the ice is increasing, sea level is falling, and we call that eustatic sea level fall. If the ice is shrinking, melting, sea level's rising. So that's a eustatic rise. So that's the meaning of that. When you see glacioeustatic, that means the rise and fall of the sea level as a result of glacier growth or melting. Okay? And it says here, sea level fluctuations have received only minor attention in connection with such problems as ocean floor spreading. The purpose of this report is to point out that late Pleistocene sea level data suggests that the ocean basins have responded isostatically and by a significant amount, particularly concentrated along the mid-Atlantic ridge. So, I mean, I've got so much here. I'm just going to grab a couple of these things here. Yeah. So they dug up these cobbles, which are the cobbles are. So a cobble is basically a stone or anything that's lithified. It's roughly between a pebble, and a boulder. A boulder, when you get, I think, to 11 inches, about the size of a volleyball. Now you're in the realm of boulders. A cobble is in between pebbles and boulders. You know, like you've heard of cobblestone streets. You know, they're fist-sized rocks, basically. So they say here the Atlantis cruiser and Great Meteor seamounts rise from a broad ridge or plateau which extends from the mid-Atlantic ridge. Blah blah blah. Let's see. So about a ton of flat pteropod limestone cobbles was dredged from the summit area of one of these sunken, what they're calling the seamounts. And a seamount is like a flat top mountain, right? Like the top of the mountain has been sheared off, okay? So they pulled up these limestones, right? These limestone cobbles, they dated them. One of the cobbles gave an apparent radiocarbon age of 12,000 years, plus or minus 900 years. The state of lithification, how much it is turned into rock, of the limestone suggests that it may have been lithified under subaerial conditions. In other words, in the atmosphere. That's what that means. It may have been lithified under subaerial conditions, and the seamount may have been an island within the past 12,000 years. Wow. So, I mean, we could go through, again, hours of this kind of research, and why it's been pushed off to the side is anybody's guess. But it just doesn't fit the paradigm. But, yeah, basically, now this doesn't prove that there was any civilization here, but we can make a very strong case that a large section of the Azores Plateau was above sea level during the late glacial maximum.
Does it coincide with Plato's account of trade and of travel and of the way?
Well, we have no way of knowing. See, now there we have to make a leap of faith, which is this. If we look right here, you'll see, you can see it very clearly, and you can see the Straits of Gibraltar here, which was anciently known as the Pillars of Heracles. And you come here to a group of islands, and then you get to the Azores Plateau. And here, these down here are those seamounts, those truncated seamounts. So really all you have to do, here's the leap of faith you have to make. You have to go, now I don't get into anything like, flying spaceships or crystal ray guns or anything like that. No, I just go by what Plato says. What he's describing is a maritime culture that had navigational abilities. Something along the lines of the Minoan or the Phoenician culture, maybe by an order of magnitude, right? So now, all we have to do, really, is assume this, which to me is not so pseudo-scientific that we couldn't even consider, which is that somebody, some group in the Ice Age had enough navigational skills to sail from Europe to islands right here.
With MailChimp, you can guide customers and their furry friends along the path to purchase with our Customer Journey Builder. You are more than a small business, and MailChimp's got more intelligent tools to help you grow it. MailChimp, built for growing businesses.
What happened?
The invaders arrived, started taking over the world.
Skyrim and The Witcher 3 are two of the biggest, most popular open-world action-adventure RPGs ever created. Both of these games set a new standard for the genre when they were released in 2011 and 2015, with absurdly high metascores clocking in at 94 and 93 respectively. I was not as enamored with either of these games as the general public was, despite having a strong affinity for and appreciation of open-world RPGs. I had a lot of negative criticism to level against Skyrim, and even while praising The Witcher 3 rather extensively, I felt like it, too, had a lot of issues that seriously diluted and detracted from the experience. Both games are top-notch AAA productions with excellent presentation and smooth, accessible gameplay that ultimately felt lacking in meaningful depth. Enter Elex, the science fantasy post-apocalypse RPG from Piranha Bytes, the small German studio behind the Gothic and Risen series. On a surface level, it's actually much worse than either Skyrim or The Witcher 3, largely due to production limitations of being a much smaller studio, about 30 people as opposed to hundreds, with a much smaller budget, about $2 million versus nearly $100 million. There's a distinct lack of polish across almost every aspect of the game, which on first impression can make it seem like a thoroughly mediocre, undesirable experience. But if you can get past these surface layer blemishes, there's a surprisingly deep, rich, and rewarding gameplay experience to discover. By no means is Elex a perfect game, but I honestly feel like it's better than both Skyrim and The Witcher 3 in some of the areas that matter most to me when it comes to open-world action-adventure RPGs. Before getting any further, I need to make a few disclaimers. Obviously, I'm not saying that Elex is universally better than Skyrim or The Witcher 3. Point of fact, both of those games have plenty of things of their own that they do better than Elex, which might make them vastly more appealing games to certain people. For example, Skyrim is much better at allowing open-ended, sandbox-style role-playing, complete with full-on character creation, and also has an incredible modding community to custom-tailor the experience to your personal liking. While The Witcher 3 offers a much more compelling narrative presentation with regards to its quests, stories, and characters, alongside top-notch production quality to name just a few of the big examples. I'm just saying Elex does certain individual things better. Some of this is subjective in terms of what I want out of the games I play and what I personally consider to be more fun and engaging gameplay designs, while other things are a little more objective in terms of what I would consider to be deeper and more complex, and thus arguably better, mechanical systems. Although I'm going to be criticizing both Skyrim and The Witcher 3, the point is not to disparage or ridicule those games, but rather to illustrate stylistic differences in execution to better demonstrate some of Elix's more notable design aspects for which I feel it doesn't get enough credit. Although I'm not a huge fan of either Skyrim or The Witcher 3, I still respect them for what they are and have enjoyed playing them, generally speaking, and likewise don't begrudge anyone else who enjoys them. As such, I'm not trying to tell anyone to stop liking those other games and like this other game instead. My intention is simply to show an alternative perspective for how games can be designed a little differently and why those designs might be more appealing designs to certain people. As I alluded in the introduction, I'm also not trying to claim Elex as some kind of flawless masterpiece, as the whole game is rife with technical shortcomings and questionable design choices that leave it feeling inconsistent and even pretty frustrating, if not outright disappointing at times. After all, I have 2 entire videos where I go into detail describing things the developers' previous games did better and things I'd like to see improved in the sequel. Even some of the things I'm about to praise in this video come with an asterisk acknowledging inherent faults in the system. But flawed as the game may be, I still found it a deeply engrossing experience that was far more compelling than Skyrim, The Witcher 3, or any of Piranha Bytes' other recent games. Finally, I'm going to be making a lot of generalizations and simplifications about all 3 games, which doesn't necessarily mean those statements are 100% true 100% of the time, but that they apply in the majority of cases or in a general sense. There are always exceptions, of course, and I'll point some of those out if I feel they're notable enough, but I want this video to be more of a basic overview of what I consider to be Elix's relative strengths, as opposed to a meticulous examination of all the nitty-gritty details from all 3 games. If you'd like to know more of my thoughts on Skyrim and The Witcher 3, then I'd suggest checking out my full reviews for those games, which go into more detail than I do here. Both Skyrim and The Witcher 3 suffer from icon hunting exploration, the kind of deal where their massive open worlds are filled with mostly empty space and you simply wander around waiting for the next icon to pop up on your minimap or compass. It's almost like the developers knew the worlds they created weren't going to be fun or interesting enough for it to be worth people's time to actually explore them in detail on their own, and thus implemented a sort of hand-holding shortcut system to help players more quickly and easily identify the areas of meaningful content worth seeking out. That certainly helps to cut out on some of the mindless tedium fruitlessly seeking out content in areas where there ultimately isn't any, but it really hurts the feeling of exploration and discovery when the game is specifically laying everything out for you and practically dragging you by the nose to every bit of its content, ensuring you won't miss anything en route to completing the game. You're not discovering things for yourself, you're going exactly where the game tells you. You can at least turn the undiscovered icons off in The Witcher 3, but it's not an ideal fix for the problem because you're still left with the featureless empty spaces between locations, which causes you to spend more time looking for content than actively engaging in content. And I'm not sure the game was designed to be played that way because there isn't a lot of guiding structure in the environments or quest directions to facilitate finding these locations on your own, except through aimless wandering and stumbling into them by random chance. Skyrim, in contrast, doesn't even give you the option to disable the compass, as Bethesda clearly considers it an integral and essential part of their design. Making matters worse is how The Witcher 3 litters your map with icons well in advance of you actually setting out to explore the world just by reading a notice board in town, or that so much of Skyrim's exploration is based on sending you into small, linear environments completely separated from the overworld map that all look and feel largely similar to one another, despite being technically unique. Helix doesn't bombard you with icons. The only icons it shows you are for the locations of merchants, skill trainers, and teleporter pads, but you have to find all of these things and interact with them before the map starts tracking them, and even then it's mostly for the sake of reference. The map shows you the full geography of the entire playable area, but it doesn't drag you by the nose to every single point of interest because it expects you to find things for yourself. There's not even a mini-map displayed in the HUD. It's just a radar screen with compass navigation to help orient yourself in the world and to signify the direction of enemy threats around you. So instead of staring at the mini-map following icons, you're looking around the actual world with your own eyes from your character's perspective and exploring on your own. Anytime you discover something fun and interesting, it's because you put in the work yourself, which makes it feel more rewarding, especially since other players are unlikely to find the same things you find because other players may not be as determined, clever, or observant as you are, and the game isn't going to tell them, hey, there's a thing over here you should come and see. Since the game isn't spoiling its discoveries by blatantly telegraphing them, there's a genuine sense of curiosity about what lies in wait in this world, and it's pretty satisfying every time you discover something. The game also does away with randomized, variable, or otherwise scaled loot, which is often the case in The Witcher 3. Every item in the game has been rigorously hand-placed by the designers, which allows them to tailor a specific reward for a specific amount of challenge, thereby also creating unique and memorable experiences within the world with unique and memorable rewards. That shipwreck off the southern coast has a powerful ring you can equip if you can get to it and survive the radiation and strong overlooking the biodomes has a unique sniper rifle and a fun bit of environmental storytelling if you think to climb to the top of it. It's not just a case of, we need to put some special loot here because this is a special area, because these special areas really aren't that special. They feel like natural parts of the environment. Where you can sometimes predict where you might find good loot, you sometimes end up disappointed by finding nothing at all, or surprised when you find good loot in a place you didn't expect, and you always find little discoveries scattered about in ordinary locations. These range from powerful legendary weapons to notes and audio logs detailing the events of the game's backstory, to basic supplies like potions and money, to amusing Easter eggs. It's classic variable reinforcement, the very basis for why gambling is so addicting for people, because you never know what you'll encounter next, and that leads to genuine tension and excitement with every stimulus. But instead of the variable reward being something the game dictates for you, the variable reward is based on your actions, where you go at what times in the game, and what you do within it. A big part of Skyrim's marketing campaign was project director Todd Howard hyping up a supposed fact in interviews that you could climb any mountain you see.
That mountain is not just a backdrop. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain.
Besides the fact that this was misleading, it wasn't really that fun because you were either following an intended path up the mountain or awkwardly flinging yourself against a collision mesh in defiance of the game's physics. Elex one-ups this entire concept by giving you a jetpack from the very beginning of the game, opening the entire game world up to you from all its peaks to all of its valleys. Most people will say with reverence when talking about open world games how much they love being able to see something on the horizon and then actually go there. Elex is one of the best in the game at this, second possibly only to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because a jetpack enables such a high degree of freedom of movement that you can go virtually everywhere you desire. The only places that are off limits are the edge of the game world and the mountains around the crater where the comet hit. And unlike The Witcher 3's mostly flat maps with limited draw distances, where your line of sight is constantly blocked by trees and shallow hills, Elex has a ton of verticality in its world, which gives you a lot of vantage points to see long distances across the maps that you can pinpoint interesting areas to explore on your own. That also makes the world feel more complex with a lot more hidden areas and more meaningful exploration, since you're not just exploring on a two-dimensional plane of left, right, forward, and backward, but also up and down. It is, literally and figuratively, a much deeper world. The quests in Skyrim and The Witcher 3 are generally both mindless affairs of following the dotted line and pressing the action button on the appropriate things. Skyrim's Radiant quest system generates an infinite number of random objectives to find random things from random enemies from random locations, which strips nearly all narrative purpose and significance from these side quests, making them feel quite obviously like tedious busy work where it feels like you're always just mindlessly chasing after arrow icons the entire game. Its more important quests, like the main quests, guild quests, civil war quests, and also more developed side quests, likewise suffer from a general lack of player input, where it feels like you're on rails most of the time, and where rare opportunities to effect a decision feel largely irrelevant to your character's build or role-playing archetype. The Witcher 3's quests, meanwhile, rely too heavily on using Witcher senses to solve problems, where you essentially just press a button to highlight the solution and then follow the highlights to the conclusion while Geralt does all the thinking and problem solving himself. Its strong emphasis on the narrative storytelling also makes it feel like you're stuck following the script most of the time just so that you can make the quests and stories play out in the one specific way that the developer intended them to play out. As with the exploration, both games rely too heavily on simply following quest markers, and unfortunately you're kind of forced to just mindlessly follow the icons a lot of the time because there's no other information given to help you discover a location or figure out what to do on your own, thereby making them feel even more passively mindless. Quests in Elex aren't really that sophisticated, since the basic groundwork in most of them consists of the usual go here, kill this, fetch this, talk to this person ordeals, but they're not the blasé, straightforward affair that tends to cripple these kinds of quests. A lot of quests in Elex actually require you to listen to NPCs you're talking to, pay attention to what they're saying, and think about what you're doing, instead of just mindlessly following the quest markers. As an example of what I mean, the first town, Goliet, has a set of laws forbidding technology, and they have a place called the Pit where they throw all the technology they find. One of the town's leaders is very insistent on you adhering to these laws when you first meet him, and if you ask for work to prove yourself so that you can join his faction, he gives you a quest to retrieve a laser rifle from the guy in charge of managing the pit. This is actually a test to see how well you understand the laws and how well you follow them. If you treat it like a basic fetch quest and just show up at the guy's hut asking for the weapon, or if you just try to straight up steal it from him, then you'll fail the quest because you didn't question your orders. In the same town, you're tasked with checking in on some cultivators who are working the wildlands outside of town. One of the guys mentions that they're low on food supplies and haven't heard from town in a while. You can either report back to town and bring them a bunch of moldy bread, because the town has no food to spare and that's all they can offer, or collect 50 mushrooms for them. You might be tempted to give them the moldy bread, because you get the same amount of experience either way, and it saves you the trouble of rounding up all those mushrooms, or parting with your own supply, which you may have already collected in your own adventures. But if you go this route, you later find out that they got food poisoning and couldn't work anymore, and the town leader gets upset with you. It's another basic fetch quest, but it requires you to think about what the possible consequences might be and act intelligently to get the best reward, or else you suffer the consequences.
They'd kill me fast enough, though. That is, if the animals didn't get me first. Or I don't eat the wrong thing and get poisoned.
As a running theme in Elix, most quests have 2 or 3 solutions with 2 or 3 outcomes, sometimes even allowing you to use your character's unique stats and skills to affect outcomes, something Skyrim and The Witcher 3 don't really do, seeing as those games generally limit their character-based decision-making to a single skill, like Persuasion or Delusion. Elix also uses a sort of role-playing karma system with the cold meter that measures Jax's emotional state over the course of the game, thereby opening up or closing off extra role-playing options in dialogue and how you're able to solve quests. In Elix, these different choices can lead to different bits of optional dialogue, extra rewards, and different outcomes, some of which can have lasting consequences and significant effects on the world. The previous examples in the Berserker town, Goliath, are part of joining the Berserker faction. If you fail enough of these quests by making poor decisions, then you can actually become barred from joining the Berserkers or even trading with their merchants, at least not without paying a hefty penalty fee to smooth things over. In another town, if you lie to a major character, you might think he'd be none the wiser and you'd get away with it, but then he later kills another quest NPC just to get payback on you for lying to him, and then you can no longer proceed in that quest. One of the major towns, the Domed City, has a whole bunch of quests associated with it as different groups push their own agendas. Depending on whom you side with throughout all these quests, whole groups of people, or even the entire town itself, can get killed, thus eliminating certain service providers and quest givers from the world, with you having the opportunity to go around talking to the survivors and seeing how everyone reacts to the aftermath. How you resolve the main questline can have huge ramifications for the post-game, with entire factions turning hostile on you. Compare this to Skyrim, where you overthrow the Jarl of Whiterun in an epic set piece where the whole town is set on fire and you raid the castle. The battle itself feels dynamic and exciting, but then everything gets reset back to normal almost immediately afterward, with no major changes and everyone seeming completely indifferent to the dramatic change of situation. Or where you assassinate the Emperor as part of the Dark Brotherhood questline, and it seems to have no impact on the political spectrum of Skyrim's confrontation with the Imperial Legion, and no one seems to notice or care except for a few random offhand comments from random no-name guards. Compare this to The Witcher 3, where you decide to assassinate King Radovid and nothing really changes until the final end screen slideshows. No one even seems to comment on it or notice in-game, as various Redanian guards will continue to shout, "Long live King Radovid," as if nothing ever happened. They give you choices that give you the illusion you're having an impact on the world, but they both tend to skimp on the actual consequences for your actions, as the outcomes are typically meaningless or purely superficial. In fairness, The Witcher 3 is actually pretty good with its choices and consequences, especially compared to Skyrim and most other games, but its variable outcomes are often limited to the scope of the one quest you're working on, like seeing a different ending in a choose-your-own-adventure book, not actually affecting the rest of the world beyond the scope of that one self-contained story. There is still some missed potential with Elix's quest design, most notably with the Domed City. Although it demonstrates a dramatic change of situation and allows you to feel the effects of the aftermath, once you reach that resolution, the Domed City becomes completely inert and obsolete. From that point onward, it has no further involvement in the main quest and has no further side quests to offer with rebuilding the Domed City or helping the survivors recover from the attack, which would have been prime opportunities to make the outcomes feel even more dynamic and impactful. We could maybe also argue that the Civil War quests in Skyrim have a similar effect on the world as Elix's Abessa conflict, with you unlocking different quest paths and generating different outcomes of the peace treaty, but I just never really felt like my decisions in the Civil War were having any significant impact on the world that I could actually feel or observe through actual gameplay, beyond a few fleeting, heavily scripted quest sequences. Unlike most of Piranha Bytes' older games, Elix also relies a little more on quest markers to indicate where you have to go, like when you need to find a rare plant that only grows in special locations. But fortunately, that trend is not universally applied to its entire quest design, as there are others, like the one where you have to find plants scattered around the lake above Goliath, that you can figure out just through your own wits and observation skills, if you were to leave the quest markers deactivated and just go looking for the plants on your own. So while it's a step back from Gothic Arisen, I still find it better than Skyrim or The Witcher 3.
I'm out of here. Hey, babe. I'll be back up here later. More than likely. Yeah, I'm gonna go play some video games for a little while. I might actually stream my video games. I don't know what I'm gonna play yet, but I might play something. Actually, I might take a shower first and then go play some games.